Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 between coLGanZi and ClashShew. I'm Senex,
And I'm Pull.
and I'm just so excited to see if our Protoss hero is going to be able to pull it back. But yeah, right now, ClashShew is the only person representing Protoss remaining in the tournament, so really there's a lot of weight on his shoulders representing the Protoss race.
Yeah, I can only imagine the kind of feelings that Shu is dealing with right now. He's down one game against coLGanZi, so that is a very, very hard road for him to fight up. And of course, he's playing as the only Protoss left in the tournament, so he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders for this position that he's in this tournament.
Though there is still a little bit of hope. WiseOldSenex has been playing phenomenally, and indeed has been playing as random. And like a couple of his Protoss games have been like outrageously good. And so, if you're a Protoss, take heart. There's definitely one more person who still might demonstrate the incredible power that Protoss can have on the FRB maps when it's properly applied.
Yes, indeed. So it does look like both these players not getting any gas yet. Of course, it's not really the time for them. And as a matter of fact, Ganzi not getting his racks up quite yet, but just have enough minerals. As far as Protoss goes here, they're both just getting minerals. I mean, there's not really much of anything going on.
Well, we can talk a little bit about the map. This is 6M Devolution. So for those who have been in the FRB movement since it got started, you might look at this and say, what? This doesn't look anything like the Devolution I know. It's like, that's because it has undergone a complete graphical update. It's still balanced the exact same way. All of the minerals and everything are still placed the same, all the bases and all of that. But it used to be a kind of very nice, rich red desert tile set, but instead is now a nice, lush jungle, though hopping right into what these players are doing. Both of them going for a kind of main building first with the Nexus first from ClashShew, and coLGanZi going for the command center first.
Yes, indeed. So Ganzi is getting that CC first, of course, dropping down another Rex. We'll probably need to drop down a second Rex after that, or at least build a bunker or something just to make sure that he's extra safe. Of course, his opponent is going for a Nexus, so he should be okay. He doesn't really need to worry about too much of anything as far as we're just losing the worker on this CC. Of course, he does drop that second Rex down, so he will be safe for now.
Now, Ganzi's play has been a little bit peculiar because with the 2 racks, I would assume that he was going for some kind of aggression. Because if you notice that your opponent is going for a command center for a Nexus first, you can make some pretty accurate predictions about when is his first stalker going to be coming on the field. And until there's a stalker on the field, Marines really don't have that much to be afraid of, particularly if you pull a couple of SCVs to go and punish your opponent. However, Ganzi has done no scouting at all. He has no idea what his opponent's going for. For all he knows is like a 3-gate all in, just about to hit him. So it does make a lot of sense defensively also to throw down those 2 barracks, but I do think he really would have been served by trying to get at least a little bit of information on what his opponent is up to.
Yeah, I think he's just feeling really confident right now. Of course, he is pretty good, so if he can just scout...
Pretty good.
Yeah,
air quotes.
he's okay. No, he's actually amazing. So if he could just scout like maybe 1 unit of Shu at a certain timing, he might have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Just because the players at this level, like they see a stalker somewhere on the map at like 340 and they're like, okay, they're going this build. Like a lot of the times they can make those deductions. So perhaps Ganzi's feeling just smart enough or safe enough to just delay his scouting. It could be something as simple as that.
Yeah, he is playing incredibly safe, moving those Marines around the bottom of his base, just double-checking, like, am I certain that there's no proxy pylons there? Obviously not finding any. He also has the bunker up right in the front of his base, another very good thing for him, just in case there was something like that 3-gate that I was mentioning. And just now he's scouting his opponent's base. And in fact, this Stalker has been so delayed by the Nexus first that this SCV gets to just walk right in and see everything that's going on. And so really, when your first stalker is coming out at like 6 minutes into the game, you're in a kind of vulnerable position. And indeed, Ganzi is looking at punishing this, moving all of his forces across the map.
Ganzi realizes that ClashShew pretty much has absolutely nothing. Right now, Shu is pushing out 2 stalkers, but ooh, wow, Ganzi actually dropping down a bunker right now. I think Shu is in a really, really vulnerable position right now.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the micro, and that's not what Shu wants to be doing with the micro, taking a ton of hull damage on the Stalker. Really big blunder right there, and a couple of probes going down immediately as Ganzi's just poking around with this large group of Marines, and there's not really a good way for Shu to engage this directly just yet.
No, Shu currently has 3 stalkers out here right now, but 2 of them are almost dead. 1 of them does go down. and there's currently just one with full health just about. Now another stalker has just now popped out, and Warp Gate is almost finished, as well as another stalker in production right now. But Shu is losing so much. These stalkers are very expensive units, and Marines are certainly cost effective. And right now, Shu has lost 600 resources worth of army.
Yeah, right now GanZi has killed 5 workers, so definitely trying to keep the pressure on his opponent. He is going to start canceling those bunkers and salvaging the one in the back and start moving away from his opponent. But really, he's done what he set out to do. He's very, very nicely secured his own expansion. Looking at the workers, it's 36 SCVs against just 28 probes. And for those not already aware, Protoss never, ever wants to be below the Terran in the worker count because mules give just so much additional benefit, and there are 3 of them right now working for GanZi.
Yes, indeed. Now it does look like Shu is moving down here with some of his units, so he wants to do a little bit of a push, possibly some counter aggression to basically punish GanZi for doing what he did. But GanZi realizes that he is very vulnerable and drops down 4 bunkers right now. So GanZi is going to be quite safe against any kind of 2-base push. Really impressed with the decision making of GanZi and just general game awareness.
Yeah, I love this decision by GanZi. He knows that he did a pretty good amount of damage to his opponent right in the beginning, and basically the only way that he could lose this game is if his opponent gets in a really good counterattack. It looks like Shu's going for it anyway, though. I really think he needs to pull back, maybe take another expansion rather than go in.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Of course, GanZi does know that there are currently a ton of warp gates in production. Shu is moving up here for the attack. Now there are, like I said, 4 bunkers up here and some SCVs coming up to repair. One of them does go down though, and Shu is currently targeting the next bunker, which will in effect go down. And GanZi needs to be really careful. He needs to keep these bunkers up. If he loses all of these, he will definitely be in a vulnerable position. In fact, ClashShew has lost so many units, it's looking really close.
Yeah, though, this attack is a lot more successful from Shu than I thought it was at first going to be. Looking at the 4 bunkers, I definitely thought GanZi would hold that up with ease, but the force fields were so precise from Shu, making sure that these bunkers were not being repaired whatsoever, and now he's getting a pretty good opportunity to kill a lot of workers. He is going to need to be careful. If he loses this whole army, the potential for a huge counterattack from GanZi is very intense.
Yes, indeed, Shu needs to hold on to these stalkers with all of his life, but GanZi is not going to let them go. Gets the surround off on these stalkers. Of course, these zealots are moving up here, but really interesting decision. I think he probably should not have done that, as these marauders are doing a good job of taking them down. Of course, GanZi is actually out of army right now and might lose all of those SCVs. Currently, the worker kill count for Shu is 19. And GanZi's income has actually been evened a little bit out, but he still is at 34 versus 30.
Yeah, GanZi just being such a macro boss, despite all of that aggression and losing so many SCVs, still has a 6-worker lead over his opponent. Also, as these medevacs are now hitting the field, this attack probably needs to be over from Shu. I don't think he has the ability to deal with all of these stimmed units, though. It doesn't look like GanZi wants to let them go, stimming after them, and I believe he does not have concussive shells just yet, so he probably won't be able to chase down all of them, but in fact, Shu turning around to engage.
Yeah, really good force fields there. Of course, GanZi just lifts off those units, loses 1 medevac and all of the units that were in it. Actually, really unfortunate for GanZi there. And Shu has kind of turned the tide of the battle once again.
Yeah, and right now, GanZi just trying to take out this one proxy pylon. I don't think he knows that there's already 2 more in place, so definitely a bit of a blunder right there from GanZi, losing a bunch of units and really not accomplishing what he wanted to, which was make sure that his opponent couldn't be constantly warping in. Right now, Shu moving right in, that bunker being mass repaired, however.
Yeah, GanZi preemptively moved his SCVs up to repair, and ClashShew is currently in a really great position, but GanZi with the whole position micro with his SCVs blocking those zealots and stalkers, and oh my god, GanZi manages to clean up that attack. I did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic micro from GanZi. Looking at the units tab once again, he's even increased his his worker lead. He has 41 SCVs against just 32 probes. Right now, we see that ClashShew is investing in Charge and the Templar Archive, so a pretty effective unit composition, the Charge Lot Archon, against his opponent's almost completely, in fact, entirely Bio Force. However, I'm starting to get really worried just looking at the supplies. I'm not sure that Shu's going to have the sheer numbers he needs to deal with this attack moving through the middle of the map.
No, all he has right now are zealots and a couple of sentries. I'm looking at how many Marauders GanZi has. He does have a few, mainly a Marine Force though, but the concussive shells are going to be plenty to deal with the Zealots if he does do some Surge Step Micro in this battle. Of course, the battle is going to be heavily up to Micro. We'll see how it goes. It does look like GanZi's coming in here for the attack, doing that Surge Step, as I said, and the Sentry's actually not getting a complete block right there. GanZi managing to pull some Marines back and might lift off some units, might continue with the aggression. Wow, he does continue and was able to take out so many Zealots just now.
Yeah, some really unfortunate force fields. They kind of delayed GanZi for a moment, but then formed this enormous funnel that all of the Zealots had to try to charge through, and really just minimized the effectiveness of Shu's melee forces. Right now we see in Pro Pull, in fact, Shu obviously feeling very desperate, and indeed he has to GG. Well played.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to that one. We do have another series that's coming up here between...
It is between
Okay,
Gosu
okay.
Vibe and Gosu T-Gun. This is going to be a team kill, Zerg versus Zerg.
Alright guys, so we will be back shortly with that series, so don't change that dial. We'll be right back.